Security first. I'm Jeff Stein with today's Iowa Politics Report. It is traditional in the wake of the tragic assassinations of the 1960s for the major political party presidential and vice presidential candidates to receive Secret Service protection starting with the 4 months leading up to a general election. That's the general rule, but there are exceptions. For example, in 2007, when Barack Obama was running for president, he received a variety of threats against his life. In fact, the protection, Secret Service protection, was granted to the then U.S. Senator in May of 2007, very early in his campaign, and some 8 months before he won the Iowa caucus. The origin of this Secret Service protection for candidates came in the wake of the killing of the then leading Democratic candidate in 1968. Robert F. Kennedy. Now, 55 years later, his son, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is running for president against an incumbent. And because of threats made against him, he sought Secret Service protection. But it was denied by the Biden administration. Now, typically, there are standards that must be met for this protection. The individual must be a publicly declared candidate, pursuing the nomination of a qualified party, actively campaigning nationally, and contesting in at least 10 state primaries, etc., etc. But despite submitting a 67-page report from one of the world's top protection firms detailing unique security risks associated with Mr. Kennedy's public appearances, the request for protection was denied. The Kennedy team says the typical turnaround time for such requests is 14 days, but it took this administration nearly 3 months, 88 days, to determine that protection is not warranted. There's been some back and forth on the issue since then, mostly finger-pointing about which agency should review the request and whether the standard provisions should be used. Well, I'm a taxpayer, and in my view, when in doubt, err on the side of caution. Now, it's not that Mr. Kennedy does not already have private security. Trust me, we're trying to host him for an Iowa Talking Points event, so I'm directly aware of that. But the signal that it sends, that the Biden administration is withholding Secret Service protection for his key primary opponent, happening at the same time there are assertions that the same administration is turning its Justice Department against Biden's key Republican opponent, well, that should be of concern to us all. And that's the Iowa Politics Report for Friday, August 4 on Twitter, Instagram, Getter, Threads, and Truth Social at Iowa Politics. I'm Jeff Stein on News Talk 1540 KXEL.